We're going to talk about School AI. It is a AI platform for educational institutes, and it follows all the data guidelines that we need to follow within our school districts. And it is a great way to get your students into using AI in the classroom in a safe environment in a way that you can also monitor the way they're using it. So when you open up School AI and you get logged in, this will be your splash page. And Sidekick here is their general AI bot, nothing specific. It's just an everyday type of chatbot. Spaces are more specific things. So if you want to create a space for your students to use AI in a very specific way, that's how you would do it. You'd create a space specifically for that. If you feel overwhelmed by creating space, there's tons of spaces that are available that other teachers have written. There are bell ringers, exit ticket ones. Since we just had Valentine's Day, there's, the Valentine's Day challenge. There's 7 plot story writing. So there's all these different types of spaces that you could then push out to your students and they'd be able to use. Some really cool ones. So like if you're in a history class, you can push this one out to your students and the chat bot will respond as Abraham Lincoln. So your students can have a conversation with Abraham Lincoln. So the other thing this offers is tools for teachers to use if you want it to help you create a worksheet, some lesson plans, quizzes. If you want to start with a joke at the beginning of each day, you can also adjust the level of text. So if you're in the elementary or high school, it doesn't really matter. But if you have a student who may be at a lower reading level than other students, you can take that information and have it lower the text level, either 1 or 2 grade levels, to help that student gain the information and the knowledge you're trying to teach without them having to try to also overcome the reading discrepancies in their education. You also have assistants here. So these are other types of tools that you can use. These are like chatbots that'll help you figure out different things. There's a co-teacher. The field trip coordinators always seemed weird to me, but it's interesting. It'll help you grade assignments. If you put in your grading rubric and you tell it to follow that rubric and you put in your students' assignments, it'll follow the rubric, grade it for you, give you a reason why it graded it that way. And it could be a really good way for you to give feedback to your students on, say, like a first draft or another project they're working on. And then you can then go in and help them and grade the final essay if you would like to. So let's go back to Launchpad and let's look at creating a space for your students to use. I love the openness of this compared to, say, like Magic School. Magic School is a great tool, but all of their spaces and tools seem very limited as to what you can have them do. Like they're kind of like they're all like square boxes, yet this is more of like a circle. So you can expand, you can contract this however you want. Where in Magic School, it's more so this is what this does, and you really can't make any adjustments to how it works. In this, you have way more freedom to tell it to do what you want and act the way you want it to. So, one of the ideas I had for our English teacher, they have their juniors read Ready Player One every year. And I thought it would be cool, instead of doing a final writing project that summarizes the book, is have your students write a new chapter that fits into Ready Player One and have them create a character that lives within that chapter and have it all flow seamlessly throughout the book. So, an example of how you would make something along those lines is you would put the title of whatever you want the space to be, the prompt. You can add standards. So you'd go to the grade level. Let's say this is for 11th graders. The subject, let's say it's core English, grades 11, and then you go down here and you can see all these different standards that you can choose from. So you can also make it follow your standards so it falls into your curriculum. It'll then create a cover image for you. You can create a subtitle. This is teacher description. It'll be for you, so you can tell yourself when you're going back and look at your spaces, what is this space used for? And then you have a student description. So when they see the space, this is what you want your students to know about that space. So let me show you the one that I have created. So this is my space for Ready Player One. So we'll go in and we'll edit the space. As you can see, I had to create an image for me. I didn't put any standards into here. The title, I just said new character, new chapter, novel, Ready Player One. And then in here, I told it what I wanted it to do. And I wanted them to help the students, not write it for them. And then I added a funny subtitle from the book. This is my teacher description. This is what I want the students to see so they understand what the space is. Now, if you want to test the space out before you push it out to all your students, you can do that by just clicking Start Preview. It'll run just like it would for your students. And then you can go through it and see how it answers questions. One of the cool thing about School AI is that if your students try to get off topic, School AI doesn't criticize them for that, but it always brings them back around to where they need to be. So it might take a couple of questions, but it'll always get them back down to the path that you want them to be on. So they can try taking tangents, but School AI is always going to bring them back to where they need to be. So once you're happy with your space, you go to save and launch, and then it goes up to this section. You could use a space code, or you can add it to your Google Classroom. So if you use a space code, you would just copy this link. You'd go to that website, and then you would, your code is already here, and then you would just, your student would put their name in, you would join. And as you can see here, this is the student information that you want them to know. There's our picture, and here you go. Here's your AI workspace for your students. This is where they would work on creating that chapter, the characters, and work through all of that. So for example, if you have students who write things in your chatbot that they're curious about, or your chatbot is either curious or concerned about, it will flag those for you and will be like, hey, you need to go talk to this student. So an example I did with my teachers was the book Jurassic Park. It's like a review of it. So as you can see, engagement is lacking, needs redirection and focus because I was prompting the AI in negative ways. So you can see here on the side, the student expressed a desire to not be at school and stated a dislike for AI. The student expressed a lack of engagement. The student mentioned they don't read, indicating a potential disinterest or difficulty in reading. This is what really impresses me because this is the type of information that can fall through the cracks for some students. With that knowledge, you can then go to that student and say, hey, are you having trouble reading? And then you can diagnose why. Maybe they need glasses, maybe they're dyslexic, maybe they have some other situation that they just need help with. This helps you by knowing where to start. So without this, you might not have known that student had a problem with reading. So there's a lot of cool ways that you can utilize this in your schools. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Like with every AI tool, I highly encourage people just to go play around with it. That's how you learn how to engage your students in AI. That's how you learn how these programs work. And that's how you learn how to utilize it the best in your classroom and with your students. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to answer questions about this stuff. If you need some help, please let me know. Thank you for watching and have a good day.